A butcher is busy preparing some chops in his shop when all of a sudden he looks up and he sees a Great Dane, a large dog, standing at the counter. Now, before he's able to shoo the dog away for coming into his shop, the dog starts nodding its head up and down, and the guy notices that he's got a note in his mouth. So he takes the note out of his mouth and it says, 3 packets of sausages and 2 chops, please. That's a bit strange, he thinks. But he looks at the dog and he notices he's got a pouch around his neck. And as the dog's shaking his head, he can hear money jangling in the pouch. So he reaches into the pouch and there's the exact amount of money for what the dog has ordered. So he thinks, oh, okay. So he places the items into the pouch and the dog runs off, disappears. That's a bit strange, thinks the butcher, but he puts the money in the till and carries on about his everyday goings on. The next day, he's preparing some steaks, and he suddenly looks up and notices that the Great Dane is back, and it's got a note in its mouth again. So he takes the note out of the dog's mouth, and this time it says 3 steaks and 4 hamburgers. He reaches into the pouch, and there's the exact amount of money for those items. So the butcher puts the items into the pouch, takes the money, puts it in his till, and the dog disappears. The third day, the butcher's preparing some ribs, and he notices the dog comes in again. And this time he thinks, hang on a minute, I'm going to have to find out what this is all about. So he reads the note, and the note says that the dog wants a full rack of ribs and some steaks. He checks the money, it's exactly the right amount of money. So he places the items into the dog's pouch, puts the money in the till, but this time he decides to follow the dog. So the dog is running down the road, the butcher's running fast after him. The dog comes to a set of pedestrian lights. He presses the button, he waits for the green man to come on, and then crosses the road, and then basically goes over, runs round the corner, goes up another 2 roads, and then goes to a front door and starts barking. So the guy has just about managed to keep up with him, the butcher, when he notices the front door opening and a man comes out and starts shouting at the dog. The butcher's really upset about this, so he runs up to the man and says, what are you doing? Why are you shouting at the dog? This has got to be the smartest dog in the world. And the guy looks at him and says, smart? That's the 2nd time this week that he's forgotten his keys.